I'm Guy Rivera, your guy in the mortgage industry.
It's time to pay attention.
Come on, people. Think about it.
Welcome to Mortgage Matters.
Mortgage industry is not rocket science.
Your guide to the information you can use to choose the best answers to your real estate financing questions.
If that loan agent tells you that, get up and run away.
Now, here's your host
on State and Islay.
Your guy in the mortgage industry, Guy Rivera.
Okay, I am back in front of the mic. This is Guy Rivera, your guy in the mortgage industry. Thank you for tuning in to Mortgage Matters. Today is Tuesday, November 5th, in the year of our Lord 2019. Can you believe it's November already? Richard, isn't that just like, wow, man? Just like, it's mind-boggling how the year goes by so quickly. And every year I want to boycott Christmas, and every year my wife says, no way, Jose. November, a couple of very, very staple, solid holidays in November. One of them is my very favorite. But actually, both of these holidays are near and dear to my heart. The first one coming up on the 9th, Veterans Day. Monday is a holiday honoring our vets that have served, honoring our vets that have given their lives to the military, the ultimate sacrifice, all that good stuff. The Veterans Day holiday is near and dear to my heart because my grandfather, Stephen Larigo, stormed the beaches of the Philippines with MacArthur, died, and is still over there. So we take our VA loans very seriously. I embrace personally the Veterans Day. We have been honored every year to be asked to participate in the Veterans Day celebration down at the Carriage Museum. If you are looking for a good time and a way to support our local vets, our local veterans have an organization called the Veterans Foundation here in Santa Barbara, and it provides support to just the local vets, not on a national basis, but our local vets. They're a great organization run by a guy by the name of Jerry Farmer. We have been honored to that they ask us year after year to participate in their celebration of our veterans down at the Carriage Museum. It started out at a little bar years ago, but it's morphed into something huge. I mean, huge. You know, they've got the Santa Barbara County firefighters there. They have guys jumping out of airplanes, landing right there at Pershing Park. They've got tanks. They've got military vehicles, the likes you've never seen. It's quite the gathering. And you feel the camaraderie. You feel the support, the love for our veterans. Those that come out, it's really a great time. So they also have a bunch of packages you can send to vets. We sign up every year. Send them a package to those that are actually serving right now. And we're proud to do that. They have different, all the funds received go back to our veterans, local charity. And that's a great, great thing. This Saturday, if you are looking for a good time, get down to the Carriage Museum. Tell them Guy sent you. Jump on the trolley. Do the parade thing. It's a great time. And we'll see you down there. Stop by our table. Bob Goller will be there. I don't know about any of the other lenders, but I'll have to tell you, Guarantee Mortgage Santa Barbara has lowered our margins to give those vets a great, great deal. I personally donate part of our commission, my commission, branch commission, to the closing costs of the veteran. You ask any vet that has done a VA loan with Guarantee Mortgage, and they will tell you that we care. We go above and beyond. I make the deal happen. One way or another, I have our vets back, and I'm proud of that. I'm proud to be in the position to be able to help our vets. That is something first and foremost on our minds at Guarantee Mortgage when we fund loans for our veterans. The second holiday in November, Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving is my favorite holiday of them all. Thanksgiving is a great time to be thankful. It's a feel-good holiday. It's not one that you have to run out and feel like you got to buy a bunch of presents for somebody, throw coins at some big fat guy dressed in red in front of Macy's. It's the one holiday that you don't feel like you're obligated to do something. For me, Thanksgiving is reflection and being thankful for family, friends, business, just life in general. I'm thankful that we are able to have the whole family over to the house. I'll tell you more about it next week when I'm on, but I do all the cooking for everybody. We usually have, 15, 20, 25 people come over to the house. Everybody pitches in, but I do the bulk of the cooking. Turkey, stuffing, gravy. My famous jalapeno cranberry sauce. That's right. It's good, Richard, I have to tell you. It's really good. And my stuffing is the King of Stuffings. Go to the King of Stuffings online in that, what's that called, YouTube? And you see me there, just like, what's that guy, Bam Bam, the chef, Bam Bam. Come on, you know who I'm talking about. Yeah, Lugazi, Emerald. You'll see me, Guy Emerald, on YouTube, under the King of Stuffings. Seriously, I did it. Yeah, it looks good. Of course, I had about 14 martinis before I did it, but it was fine. Turned out really good. So let's talk about our show. We're going to have a great show today. And I'm going to tell you why. Because the lovely Ruth Ann Bovey is going to be here as soon as she gets her ass over here. I don't know where she's at. But there she is.
Her ass just walked in the door.
Hello, Ruth Ann. Thank you for making it to the show today. We're going to be talking about stats. We're going to be talking about the market itself. We're going to be asking Ruth Ann some very direct questions as to why the hell we're seeing so many price reductions. Whose market's it going to be? Whose market is it going to be? Is it going to be a buyer's market, seller's market? How she feels about the market, what she sees in the market, and all that good stuff that most realtors should have answers for. I know she does. So let's get into first of all, let me thank my sponsors, American Riviera Bank and Tim Tremblay. Those guys have been sponsoring this show ever since the day I started it. Hell, I don't know why, but they do. I want to throw a shout out to both of those guys. They've been real good to me. We are great referral partners. I send them business. They send me business. They pay for my show. They pay me hundreds of thousands of dollars to do this show for some reason. I don't know.
That is not true.
How do you know?
I just can't believe that it would be true.
You don't know, do you?
No, I know that's not true.
Okay, so I may have embellished hundreds of thousands. Maybe it's, a couple of dollars. But still, I'm on the air.
They throw you a nickel.
I have a show and you don't. So please.
That is true.
All right, let's start off with saying hello to Richard Dugan, my trusty sidekick on the controls there. How's everything going, Richard? Pretty good? Jeff Bridges called for me this week. Are you sure? You know, I thought I had seen him at some function, and he was making his way over to talk to me, but I blew him off. So there you go. I did not. I didn't see him. That was a lie. I can't back that one up. Look at both of your faces going, what the hell?
Would have been the other way around. He would have been
look,
like, oh, my God,
you know,
there's that Guy Rivera.
yeah,
And
that's right. That's
hightail
what he
it
was
out of the
doing.
place.
Hey, you're talking to a guy that had cocktails with Jack Nicholson on the set of Paramount Studios. So
How long ago was that?
that was a long time ago.
And how long have you been bragging about it?
Since the day it happened, a long time, of course. Duh. Jesus, that's Jack Nicholson, man. All right, we're going to take a quick commercial break. When we come back, I'm going to talk a little bit about the market. We're going to get into a couple of loan programs that are available to the listeners. Then we're going to bring Ruth Ann Guy in because that's what we do. You're listening to Guy Rivera, your guy in the mortgage industry. Thanks for tuning in to Mortgage Matters. We'll be right back.
You are correct, sir.
Okay, we are back. You're listening to Mortgage Matters. Guy Rivera, your guy in the mortgage industry. I'm going to bring Ruth Ann Guy in here pretty quick, but before I do, I'm going to go over some stuff in the market because it's been a wild 2 days. Last week, the 10-year note was at 1.65. I locked in a ton of loans. Last week was a record, close to a record month or week for me. I originated 12 loans, 14 loans, and that's a lot, for a little nobody like me and a little nobody like our company. It's, but, three of them, three purchases were supposedly being approved by those three different Wall Street banks. They're a week and a half, 2 weeks into the process. All three, oh my God, they said they could, now they can't. I've figured out two of them, and I'm working on the other one. I should have a solution for it today.
I don't know what that means.
Oh.
So they said they could, and now they can't.
Right.
You
So,
locked
I
them,
mean-
so they couldn't give you the.
No. They were with three other banks. They were with Wells Fargo. One was with B of A.
Oh, these particular
These ones
clients
that I
of
took
yours.
in, yeah.
Right.
I took in three purchases last week. Actually, I took in more, but these three I took in. They were with other banks that
Okay,
promised
somebody
them
else that
they
couldn't
could
do
get them
it.
approved,
Okay.
and they
I
couldn't.
just wanted clarity on that.
So, it's pretty strange that, and one of our local banks, our former Son of Our Bank and Trust, which is now Union, and those guys are strong. They pretty much, but I'll tell you, there's a lot of that going around right now. I think the banks will tell you they can, and then turns out that it can't. What it does is just puts a lot of pressure, puts a lot of stress on.
That's way too much stress. I see it myself all the time.
It does. It puts stress on all parties of the transaction. Financing, it puts pressure on. The pressure's on. But we've got a really good crew. I was telling Richard this when I walked in, as I was walking out the door. Lori. I said, okay, what are you working on? What can I do? What can I do to help? She's, you can be quiet and get the hell out of here.
I was just going to say the same thing.
Because, basically that's how cool my crew is.
They
and
are. They have it on point. And I got to tell you, so I'm buying my house in Washington. Right?
Yeah.
Washington
Got
State.
that?
And the level of service there is so far below what we do here that I was flabbergasted.
Well, you gotta wait a minute. I gotta stop you right there. I mean, where you're buying Scullum, or what's it called? Squim, Washington. They just barely got telephones.
They really
Before
need to
last
call it
week.
Sequim, though.
Yeah, last week. I think last year they went from the little can and string to telephones. So that's why you're having those
And
problems.
the locals there are very concerned about it getting yuppified there.
Yeah.
Yuppified because they have real
Can I do
telephones
my
now.
Can I do
Yes,
my market
do your
here?
show.
Okay. Yeah.
I mean, it's not all about me.
No, it's not. So, okay. The 10-year note, as I was saying, last week was at 1.65. I locked in a lot of loans. If you didn't lock last week and you're in a 30-day escrow, your rate has probably gone up, without a doubt, because today the 10-year note is at 1.85. And that's a huge kick up for that 10-year for the bond market, because your rates will follow this 10-year note. It was hitting 1.67 last Thursday. I locked in a lot of loans. The only major economic data that was released today was CoreLogic. They report that home services distressed sales rose 3.5% year over year in September.
We're seeing that.
We're seeing it here. Mm-hmm. You're going to come to the mic here pretty quick and let us know that. Okay. Do I need to make you wait outside?
Go sit in the corner.
Yeah, go sit in the corner, Ruth Ann Bovey. But we can't. That's why you're so successful, because you are aggressive and you are there, and I'm really honored that you're here with me today. Thank you. And you also do the radio show by yourself sometimes. Isn't that cool?
I have a radio show, too.
Yeah, you did. You do have a radio show. Before you came in, I was talking about this month of November. Usually, and I'm looking back at it, the very first year, 19 years ago, when Victoria and I, well, actually 20 years ago when we got married, November has always been historically our busiest time for some really weird thing. Took in a ton of loans last week. November it kicks off, and we're going to close a ton this month. And I remember sitting in my kitchen stuffing a bird, on the speakerphone with a client who had to close by the end of the month. And that is by far one of the most memorable Thanksgivings I had, because I had, we had like 30 people, all the family over, and I'm just cooking and I'm doing business and I'm closing stuff that next Friday. And this is, and then now that I look back, November's been historically one of our busiest months at Guarantee Mortgage, and we're real blessed and thankful for that. That's Thanksgiving. But Veterans Day is also this month, and that is this Saturday at the Carriage Museum. They're having a big hoedown. Have you been to that before?
I don't think so, no.
Yeah, it's something to behold. They got guys jumping out. They got flyovers for F-16s. It's just something that is...
and thank you to all the veterans out there.
Thank you for your service. And I already went through why it means so much to me, but I'm going to repeat it because it does mean a lot to me. My grandfather died storming the beaches with MacArthur in the Philippines, and he's still over there. And, like I said, our VA loans, nobody can beat our VA loans. I personally donate a portion of my commission to their closing costs just because I can, I do, and I will. Our loans, our rates are lower than anybody else's. I know because I've lowered my margins on those. I want our vets to get the very best. And it's a shame only 19% of the veterans take advantage of that benefit. If you're a vet and you're listening, wake up. There's some great benefits available to you through the VA. CoreLogic reports that home prices, including distressed, this is what we started on, rose 3.5 year over year in September compared to September of 2018, up 0.4%. Monthly from August to September. CoreLogic is forecasting a 5.6 increase from September 19th to September 2020. Mortgage rates were a full percentage point lower this September compared to a year ago, boosting affordability for first-time homebuyers and supporting a rise in home ownership. In addition to lower interest rates, personal income grew faster than home prices during the past year. This provided an additional lift for first-time buyers' affordability and helped to boost the home ownership rate to the highest level in more than 5 years. Richard's given us that finger. We're going to have to take another quick commercial break. You're listening to Guy Rivera, your guy in the mortgage industry. We'll be right back. Okay, we are back, and yeah, that was interesting, Richard. Talking about Zydeco off air. I'm going to bring in the lovely Ruth Ann Bovey. She's going to be talking about, well, whatever's on her mind, obviously, but I think stats are on her mind. So, Ruth Ann, thank you for being here, and what's going on in the marketplace of Santa Barbara?
Well, I do, before we jump into that, want to say that I am Ruth Ann Bovey with Village Properties. My MLS, my BRE number, yes, is 017511940. Thank you very much. Happy to be here. And yeah, let's talk about some stats right now. The market is changing. We're definitely feeling it change. And what you were saying about November being your best month, November, December is almost always my biggest month too. And I don't know that it's the market's biggest month, but I think for me it's always I look at where I am against my goals for the year in August and September, and then I start really pushing. And because I want to meet my goals, right? That's why you have them set. So December closings are almost always my best. I often will have a few that run into January, but November, December. So when I look at the stats, though, it's a little bit different. Now, the official stats are not out from the Santa Barbara Association of Realtors just yet for the month of October. So I pulled my own. And
wait a minute. Did you say SBIOR doesn't have their stats out yet?
Yet. They usually don't come out until the 10th.
Oh, okay.
So the stats that I pulled are definitely showing that the market is a-changin'. When we look at sold properties, so in August of 2019, we sold 107. Now I'm talking just single-family residences and planned urban developments.
Santa Barbara County, north and south, correct?
Not North and South County, Carpinteria to Goleta. That's our
Okay,
MLS.
Carpinteria to Goleta.
Right, that's our multiple listing. That's the territory that I cover, that our association covers. So 92 home sales in October. In September, there were 101 sales, and in August, there were 107 sales. So it's going down a little bit. When we look at new listings, when they far out exceed the sales, obviously that means that the market's changing. And when it consistently happens over several months, it's not just a hiccup, it's a trend. So back in August, we had 107 sales and 167 new listings. So that's a big difference.
167 within that first month. So in 1 month, 167 came
Properties came on the market. Correct.
Wow.
Correct. The in the months, that was August, September, we had the 101 sales and 114 new listings. Not as big of a difference, but still more new properties coming on the market. And for October, we had 92 sales and 136 new listings.
So I ran into the guy that puts up the posts.
Vince.
Vince, yeah.
Vince Magno, Vince the sign guy. I
Yeah.
love Vince.
He's
Shout out to Vince.
That guy's a great guy.
Great guy. He knows the
He's
market
thinking, he
better
knows,
than
yeah.
anybody.
So he's a great gauge, right?
I
He's like a
always
rain
ask him.
gauge of the market. That guy. Stand
Sign
out
up,
there,
sign
yeah,
down. Sign up, sign down.
He's thinking that there's not enough inventory. He says his signs aren't going up.
Well,
So a
there
lot of
is
that, yeah.
5.38 months of inventory, and we were down 2 months of inventory, 3 months of inventory. The last 6 months, we were right around 4, and right now, as
You
of
got
today's
5.8.
statistics, 5.38.
That's good, right?
It depends on who you ask.
Yeah.
It's great for buyers because they have more options. It's not as great for sellers because buyers have more options.
So would you say it's turning a little bit into a buyer's market?
Not quite yet. Still a normal market.
What do we got to be at to get a buyer's market?
6, 7.
6, 7. Okay, so let's talk about the. Okay, let's talk about the price adjustments, the lowering of prices. However you want to put lipstick on it and call it, it's still lowering the price of a house because it's overpriced. I see it a lot. I'm seeing a lot of those.
Absolutely.
Right now. I'm seeing so many. I have seen more in the month of October than I've ever seen before. People going, price adjustments, lowering, new price. Why?
Well, a few reasons. The first reason is keep in mind that we can only advise. We can tell our seller where we think a home should be priced, but they have the end-all decision. And if it's higher than what we know that we can get for the property, I mean, if it's way higher than I know I can get, I don't even want the listing. Give it to somebody else first. And when they don't get it sold at that price, and I would rather be wrong, like hire somebody else and let them sell it at that price. But it doesn't happen very often. But if they want to list it a little higher than I want to, I'm willing to give it a try for a couple of weeks, and let's see what happens. If we get people through and nobody's making offers and we're not having second showings, then you know your price is too high. People are not seeing the perception of value, and you have to bring it down. The other option is to just sit on the market. And do you know, when was the last time you sold a house, Guy? I mean, you've been in your house
houses. Yeah, no. Yeah,
been a long time.
Yeah, it's been a very long.
It's a pain in
I've
the.
never sold a house. Everything that we bought, we've kept. I sold a commercial property.
Different.
Yeah.
Let me tell you why it's different. So you're talking about your home. You're living in your home, and your home is on the market, and people want to come in and see it, and you have to clean it and make it show ready. I've got a client that has a 4-year-old that is extremely high energy. He's adorable. It takes them hours to get their home show ready every time somebody wants to see it. So we try to steer them towards the open house. But that's the bottom line. You don't want to have your house sit on the market because it's overpriced, because it just interrupts your life.
Yeah. And I feel sorry for some of those guys that are just in it to barely capture the equity to buy their new home. You and I have been through something like that in the
Absolutely.
past. And but you know,
I mean,
we
that's
haven't seen
whether-
that. We haven't seen that for a while because equity
No.
has been built. You know, that was 5 years ago, but equity's been built up. People are staying. I don't think we'll ever move out of this house. I mean, I love our little Beaver Cleaver neighborhood.
You
It's-
have
yeah.
a great house.
And it's just
with the pool and plenty of room for parties.
yeah, and it's just and I can close the gates and nobody can, walk up and knock on the door.
It's
which
very
is-
private, yeah.
So, I don't think we're selling. So let's get
But-
on with the market. So I get that people want to get as much as they possibly can. And
But the
that's at a
reality
certain-
is, just because a seller wants to get a certain amount doesn't mean that's the reality.
right.
The seller can only get whatever one buyer is willing to pay for it. and it's finding that one buyer. So it's all about doing the marketing and making sure when that one buyer that is going to pay the most comes in, they see the perception of value. And that's why it's so important to make sure that your price, let's say that the asking price is $700,000 and the home is really only worth $675,000. If you price it at $700,000, somebody's still probably going to offer $675,000. That's okay. That's not. It's not necessarily a great idea, but it's not a bad idea. But if it's a $675,000 house and you're asking $900,000, you're not going to get any offers. And to reduce it down from $900,000 to $890,000, you're still not going to get any offers. You got to get close to where that true perception of value is. That's the only way to do it. I don't care how great the marketing is, and we do some pretty amazing marketing. I don't know if you've ever seen our virtual tours where you actually feel like you're in the house and you can look up at the ceiling, you can look at the floor, and you can go close in. Like if you see a crack on the wall, you go close. And actually, I don't know that it's that good, but I'm embellishing now.
Yeah, of course you are. Well, on that note, we're going to take a quick commercial break because there's no real embellishing in our industry. We can't embellish.
Of course not.
We just tell it straight like it is. We're talking to Ruth Ann Bovey. This is Mortgage Matters. You're listening to Guy Rivera, your guy in the mortgage industry. We'll be right back. Okay, we are back. We're speaking with the lovely Ruth Ann Bovey of Village Properties. And, I'm honored that I'm part of your team. I'm probably the number one team player over there, which I like in the lending industry.
You bring donuts.
I do. Yeah, did those those had to have a big hit today, right?
I ate 2 halves. I never eat donuts. I try to stay away from sugar and flour. And I had 2 halves, and they were scrumptious. Thank you.
Dunkin' Donuts, baby. Dunkin' Donuts.
I don't know if they still make soup, but their soup at 2 o'clock in the morning used to be really amazing.
I don't know about that. I'm not up at 2. I've used up all my fun early in life.
Well, that was early in
my
my life.
We were talking about the market and some sellers wanting to stay on, set their price. Maybe somebody will pay for it, maybe not. And yes, you're right. It's just, a sale is, the value of a home is what one person's willing to sell it for and the other person's willing to buy it for. The days I miss are when a seller will actually read the letters that people write in. Take my offer, please. Listen, let me finish. A lot of people write letters to the seller when, families and whatnot as to why. And used to be a seller would read those letters. And I've been part of this, and it's a feel-good transaction where, you know what, we're going to take a little bit less, maybe $5,000 or $10,000 less. This is a family that needs a home. We raised our kids here. And we're going to give it to this family.
That's what we're doing with my parents' home to a certain extent.
Yeah. So those are feel-good transactions.
They don't do it anymore. Well, they don't do it as much. We have been warned that there have been lawsuits because of people. You can't discriminate. Even a seller cannot choose who they're going to sell to based on...
So they don't write the letters anymore?
You can write the letter, but it's like you cannot make your decision based on whether somebody has kids or not, or wants to have kids, or doesn't have kids, or has
can do
dogs.
Whatever the hell they want.
No, they can't. It's discrimination.
Oh, not.
And I'm with you.
No way.
I think it's redonkulous. Seriously, redonkulous. But
I can sell
there
whoever the
have
hell
been
I want to sell my
lawsuits
stuff to.
related to that. That's what you would think.
Yeah.
That's what you would think, but there have been lawsuits.
So somebody's going to... What? Lawsuit?
I can't name it. I'm not an attorney.
I'd like
but
to
this
see
is
it.
what we have been advised.
Okay,
I
so
still
you
have my
have that.
buyers write the letter.
You have been advised by your management at Village, right?
And through the association.
Okay, so let's get Bob Hart. You know Bob Hart. Let's
I know
get
Bob
him
Hart.
to give us some specific lawsuits that have been filed, and I'll read them off here on this show. I don't think there has been.
I don't think it's here in town.
I don't care where it's at. I don't care if it's in Transylvania. I don't think there's been anything filed. I think that's just another BS talking point
to get people to stop writing letters. No,
Yeah,
we love
I
the
don't
letters.
know.
We love
Yeah,
the
we
letters
love
as
the
much as you
letters.
do.
Yeah.
So
I love it.
they're not telling us this to BS us. Everything they tell us, every piece of paper in our contract, every disclosure page, and there are a gazillion of them, are because
I don't
somebody
think
has
anybody
sued
can
somebody
sue
about
somebody
something.
for selling their house to these people with these kids. I just don't see it.
What if there's a picture included and it's a white family?
Well, that
And the
is-
other people are a black family or a Latina family or
the seller can't be held responsible.
for choosing.
Anybody, I can. You know what happened
I don't
to
think
the?
that's true.
What I defy somebody to give me a lawsuit that has
Oh, you
that
know
has
who I wanna
resulted.
Let's get a
in-
real estate attorney
Yeah,
in here.
yeah.
That would be a good one.
that
Maybe
has
we can get the
resulted
Association of
in-
Realtors.
That has resulted in a fine or jail time or something for somebody. I defy
Boy, he's
them.
passionate about that.
Yeah,
isn't
because
he,
that's
Richard?
bull. There's no way somebody's going to tell me I can't sell to whoever I want to. Even if I felt like discriminating, which I do not, nor would I ever, because I'm Puerto Rican. What the hell do I have to discriminate against? I mean, Jesus. I'd be on the receiving end of discrimination like I have most of my life. But if I felt like discriminating about selling my property to somebody, whether it's my house or something, I'll damn well do it. But I don't discriminate. But
and when we
you
were
know, that's-
selling my
you
parents'
can't-
house-
you can't do that.
We got 14 offers on my parents' house, and I would say 5 of them had letters. And we did end up going with one of the ones that had a letter, but it also happened to be the best offer. It wasn't the highest offer, but they had 20% to put down.
Strong offer, and this is the way it
The
is.
contingencies
Yeah,
were
so-
reduced. There were a lot of things that made this a
So
much
somebody's
better
going
offer.
to come
than-
back to you and say, well, they had the best offer, and they were white people as opposed to these people offered you more, but they were
There
black.
wasn't a picture. We had no idea
Yeah.
who it was.
So, I mean, come on. Or they were Puerto Rican?
Well,
Unbelievable.
they were Puerto
That is,
Rican.
I want to hear it. I want to see it because that is just, that's just like the lady that wrote in about the school. Where do these people come up with this stuff?
What is
She
she
wrote
writing
in
about?
about the a precautionary drill, a shooting drill at one of the local schools. And she wasn't told that this emergency drill was going to be happening at one of the schools. So she wrote in and started whining and sniveling that it was distressful for my child and myself not to know that we were going to have hey, get over it. What if there was a gunman in the school and they didn't
But I
prepare
thought that
for
they
this?
did notify the students and the parents that there would be a drill.
I don't know about that.
I think
I
they
think
do.
they did, but even if they did, she still wrote in and said how traumatizing it was. I mean, do these? Who
They usually know in advance when it's going to be, what day it's going to be on. Keep your
Okay,
kid
so-
out of school for
yeah,
that
so
portion of the
let's-
day.
Let's just say she did know, and then snivels about it. Where do these people come? Why? What do they sit?
Didn't
in?
I hear you say homeschool earlier in the show?
No homeschool.
Yeah, you said somebody was going to homeschool.
No,
Where
I
did
don't
I
believe
hear?
in homeschooling. Do you?
I thought maybe it was in another
That's how those
conversation I
introverts.
had.
That's how people become introverted more and more. I mean, homeschooling.
Let's get back to
I mean,
mortgages.
yeah. So mortgage lending, VA financing, is probably one of the best rates. I just quoted a 3% on a 30-year fix for $500,000
Was that a VA?
VA loan. Come on.
I got 3.99. You
Yeah,
said
that's
it was a
VA.
good
No,
loan.
that's-
I'm not a VA.
Yeah, you're not a vet, so
I
that's
know.
why you don't get 3%. But a vet, and plus you got an investment property, right? Or a second
No,
home?
it was a second home.
Second home. Okay. So we got one more minute, but listen, let's talk more about stats when we come back. Richard's giving us that finger. What is this? Our last Will this be our last commercial break? Where the hell did the time go? We just have so much fun doing this show. It flies right by, right?
I agree.
Look at Richard actually grew some hair. That's how time flies through this show. You're listening to Guy Rivera talking with Ruth Ann Bovey. Your guy in the mortgage industry. Will be right back. Okay, we are back. Listening to Guy Rivera, your guy in the mortgage industry. That was a stupid thing for me to do. Put a piece of gum in my mouth
That
right
wasn't
before I
gum,
went
it
on
was
the.
just chewy candy. I warned you.
Anyway, thank you, Ruth Ann, for making me look like an idiot.
Doesn't take much. Just kidding.
Now this thing is stuck to the roof of my mouth. Anyway, getting back to stats, I get it. Just to recap, I don't believe anybody's been sued. I don't believe there's anybody that has actually lost a lawsuit because they didn't pick the token white boy to buy their house, and they did it over
the token white boy.
Okay, the token Puerto Rican or whatever. Or, I just think that is wrong on many levels, and I just think that, there's too many actions being done out of grudges or begrudged or, there should not be so much. There shouldn't, a transaction is two people coming together to agree upon, and execute and facilitate. Transactions should not be adversarial at all. Yet a lot of people make it that way, and that is not right. Especially if you're buying a house. Why the heck would you want to go into an adversarial position? Why would, we bought our house 15 years ago, 17 years ago, whatever it was. We walked in, and this was the last house I bought. It was emotional, but my wife walked in, turned around, and said, "I want this one." Told our real estate agent, "Give them what they want. Don't come home without it." And that's how it happened. Because I thought it was a fair asking price. 17 years ago was a good time to buy.
That's how I was in Squam.
Yeah.
I wanted the house. I knew I wanted the house. I thought it was a fair price.
So there
I gave
you
them
go.
full price.
But you get so many people getting into these transactions and making it adversarial, and it makes it no fun. It just makes it no fun whatsoever. I don't know what else to say. I'm part of transactions every day. 99.9% of our deals are very qualified, good deals. People are not really fighting. We get to deal with people like you, a lot of our local people here.
Yeah, you don't get to see the fighting we're doing though, on our side. We do a lot of fighting. Negotiating.
It's
Strong
negotiation. There shouldn't be any fighting because that taints, I feel, personally, that
negotiating.
It taints a transaction. So I want to thank you for coming and giving us these stats, gives people to think about. Give Ruth Ann Bovey a call, 698-1971. 698-1971 is her cell number. She's at Village Properties. She's right on State Street. Go in there. The place is too quiet.
Except when I'm in there and I've got my music blasting.
If you want to know
My
about,
essential oils.
if you want to know or review your loan, feel free to give me a call or pop in 1736 State Street. I just had my client, who's now a friend, he pops in, has a cup of coffee. He brought his statement. We closed his loan a month ago. He really wanted, older vet. He wants to put it on automatic payments. I said, sit down. He said, I can do it myself. I said, we're here to help. 5 minutes, we put his payment on automatic through his new and final lender, PennyMac. So we go above and beyond a guarantee mortgage.
You do. And I can validate that for you. And I do also agree, anybody that's even thinking about buying a home, they really need to come in and talk to me about the entire process. I have a whole buyer consultation that I do. There's no charge, no pressure, no nothing. And I always say, go meet with a lender. And of course, I can't just say one name, but you're always on the top of the list.
Well, I appreciate that. And,
always on the top of the list. And it's so beneficial to you as a buyer.
Same thing. So listen, with that being said, Richard's given us our cue. Thank you for tuning in. This is Guy Rivera. We're talking with Ruth Ann Bovey, your guy in the mortgage industry. We'll see you next week.
That was a tasteful and moving program, Mr. Rivera.